Today I'm going to be sharing one of my favorite new join as you go methods. This creates a gorgeous cable-like effect that looks complicated but is so simple, and better yet, super fast. I'm going to show how to join 4 squares together. That way you can see exactly how each type of join works, and then once you've learned those sequences, you'll be able to join the rest of your project with no problem. I'll also share at the end of the video how to resize this join if you want to use a different stitch count, as well as some tips on how to do a continuous join as you go. And by the way, if you like the look of this square, I do have a video tutorial that I will link to here, as well as in the description box below the video. For the sample that you see here, as well as the tutorial, I'm using a weight 4 cotton yarn with a 4mm hook. For square 1, we're doing single crochets all the way around the square. Adding a slip knot to my hook, I'm going to do a standing single crochet to get started. This omits the chain 1, working into a corner, pulling the yarn through, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. This is half of a corner made. We're going to go all the way around and complete it on the other side. And now add a single crochet into each stitch across. That will be 13 stitches. For your corners, 1 single crochet, chain 2, 1 single crochet. And you're just repeating this all the way around, a single crochet in each of the next 13 stitches, 1 single, chain 2, 1 single for your corners. Back to our first corner, add a single crochet, chain 2, and then if you like, you can slip stitch into the first stitch, or you can do an invisible join, which I'm going to do here because it'll make it easier to see the stitches when we start working the join. I did a video all about this a couple of weeks ago that I'll go ahead and pop right here that goes into more detail on what I'm doing. Taking your first square, move it above and bring in square 2. I like to join as soon as possible, otherwise I'll go too far and forget. So I'm going to start right here above that first corner. You can start immediately in the corner, but I found that to be a little confusing and messy, so I prefer to start right before the corner. Same thing, adding a standing single crochet into the side and working singles across to the corner. Adding a single crochet into the very first corner. Remember, for our corners we did a chain 2. I'm going to do a chain 1, and then for the second chain I'm replacing it with the join. Here's our corner. Usually when I show how to join as you go, I give you a couple of options on how to join it, but for this one we have one way that we want to do it. We want to remove the hook from the yarn, find the chain 2 space, and pull the yarn through. We're doing this because we want it to give that cable effect, and that's your join. Now you can absolutely do this with your pieces together if you prefer. I'm just doing it like this because it's a lot easier to show you what I'm doing. Just do whatever's comfortable for you. To complete the corner, we're adding 1 more single crochet. And this is the beginning of our joining sequence on the side. We're going to be joining after every 5th single crochet. So we've already created 1. We are counting the corner stitch. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now just count 5 stitches on the previous square. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pull the loop through, And that's your first join complete. So we're just doing that again, 5 single crochets. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pull through, join complete, 5 more singles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're in our corner. For this corner, we're not working into the 5th single crochet. We're just going to go straight in the corner. Chain 1. Replace the second chain with the join, working into the corner. Pull the yarn through. Single crochet. Now, if you find that's working too tightly for you, you may want to do a chain 2 instead to give you some wiggle room before you do the join. And that's your join complete. I'm just going to work single crochets all the way around, and I'll see you at the other side. To complete the round, I am going to do the invisible join again. I just like it. Going through a phase, I guess. Bringing in square 3, moving this up. And basically it's the same thing, just adding a slip knot, starting on the side right before a corner. Single crochet for the corner, chain 1, chain 2 if you want a little bit more wiggle room. Pull the loop through, single crochet back into the corner. This begins the sequence of 5 single crochets, so we need to do 4 more. Here I can see I did something here, I don't know, I've lost the little space to hold that stitch, so I'm going to add another single crochet there. Must have been when I joined that together. That's my 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Join. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Chain 1. I tried a bunch of different ways for joining these squares, so I'm just going to show you the one that I settled on. I'm going to go across. Here's the square below, going over to the square across, not above, into the chain 2 space. Again, you could have done a chain 2 instead of a chain 1 if you find it's working too tightly for you. And that's it. We're just going to go all the way around with our single crochets to complete the square. And now for square 4, we're joining 2 sides. In our corner, chain 1, join, single crochet. Okay, good. There's our stitch, easy to see. So we've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know the drill. I will see you at the center. For joining these squares together, I would recommend that you play with this and see what you like the look of best. So far, what I've liked the look of best is joining into the square next to the one that I'm working on. I'm going to add 2 chains. They'll be hidden underneath. I'm working into this chain space right here. Complete my corner with a single crochet. This seems to give a nice neat circle in between the squares that I'm really liking. We've done 1 single crochet so far for our next side, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Chain 1, chain 2 if you prefer. Complete the corner, and now just complete the square. By the way, shocker, this is not cat hair, it's just where I'm scratching the hook on the table. But I keep thinking it's cat hair that I need to blow away. And that's it. Now from here on out, you do not need to join in panels of 4 or squares of 4. You can just add wherever you want. So if you want to join a square here and then another day over here, if you're trying to coordinate the colors, you can do whatever you like. You're just going to pick one of those joining sequences, whether it's 1 side or 2, to continue on. For the border, I just did a round of single crochets, same sequence, single crochet, chain 2, single crochet for the corners, and then a single crochet for each stitch. I will show you really quick what I did for the little joining segments here. Here's an intersection. I've done the single crochet for that chain 2 space. Here's my chain 2 space here, and for the next square, I'm going to do 2 single crochets together here. So going into the first chain 2 space, pulling up a loop, going into the next chain 2 space and pulling up a loop, yarning over and pulling through all 3. I loosened my tension a little bit here because I want to help bring it up and help straighten things out. So I would recommend that you don't pull too tight here. And then back to the regular sequence of single crochets in each stitch across. And then when you come to the end, single in the corner, chain 2, and now you can either do the seamless join or a regular slip stitch join to fasten off. To use this join on different size squares, it's really easy to do. Basically what I did for this square is I knew I was joining in the corners, so I just needed to figure out where I wanted those joins on the sides. So I divided that number by 3. Now that was really easy with 15. 3 into 15 is 5, so I just joined after every 5th stitch. But let's say it has a remainder. In that case, I would just make it look as pleasing as possible. So for example, let's say I have 16 stitches. Divided by 3, that would give me a remainder of 1. Then I would take that extra stitch and put it in the middle. So it would look something like 5, 6, 5. And then if it was something like 17, which would be a remainder of 2, then I would switch that a little. I would add those extra stitches on the ones on the side because I can do it equally again. So each side would have an extra stitch, and that would look like 6, 5, 6. Basically, you're just trying to make it as balanced as possible, so I think you get the idea with that. If you want to do this as a continuous join as you go, it's very easy if you're familiar with doing it with other squares. For example, I did a video about how to do it with granny squares. You can apply the same things in that video to this, meaning there is a chart with a sequence that you follow, just replacing it with this stitch sequence. I'll go ahead and add the sequence on the screen. You can either screenshot it or there is a PDF version in the description box below. But like I said, it can be a little tricky if you've never done it before. So if you'd like to see a proper tutorial with this cable join, just let me know in the comments and I can work on that. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, a like is always appreciated. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.